The state today has suffered a grievous blow on the coast.
It was the Mississippi coast, we now believe, which will take much of the brunt of this storm.
Even if you don't have a place to go, just get in your car and go. Just get out of Mississippi.
And the destruction here is just so devastating that it's hard to imagine if you stayed here how you could even be alive.
We were close to annihilated as you could get. I tell people we went from the 21st century to the 18th century in about 9 hours.
Well, it was certainly the most challenging episode of my life.
People were emerging from their houses with this blank stare on their face, like, what just happened? So it was strange. It was almost like Hiroshima hit. It had to feel like that. You walk out and it's total devastation.
But it was completely numbing. Completely numbing.
You heard stories all up and down the coast about what was happening in New Orleans or what was happening down on the beach, but you couldn't see it. And until you saw it, you couldn't believe it.
Homes completely crumpled just in splinters, with gas lines just spewing everywhere, and the firefighters running to cap them off before explosions would occur.
I got to the railroad tracks, and once I got up on top of the tracks, it was just astonishing that there was no buildings left.
It was just pure adrenaline. You just did what you did. There was really no time to cry or grieve.
2/3 or more of this town underwater. It was a total disaster.
It's been a tough rebuilding effort for us.
We had 1.5 million cubic yards of debris.
We had about 15% structural damage and 100% mess.
So every town spent 1 year just clearing out the debris.
The southern tip of Mississippi along the Louisiana border is the spot that got the worst of it all.
Storm surge flooding was anywhere between 25 to 30 feet.
Along that coast for a quarter mile, everything is gone, flat.
People are going to have to slowly rebuild and go through so much.
For years, the roads weren't fixed. The water wasn't in properly. The electricity wasn't, working in all areas of the town.
Well, we had a lot of help, and we got back open 55 days after the storm because people living in trailers and, and huts and everything, they could come back to Mary Mahoney's and linen tablecloths, linen napkins, just like that, just like it was before the storm.
It's a tough situation, but we are getting help out here slowly and surely, and a lot of the residents are going to be happy about that again.
The help that the people gave coming into town was unbelievable.
Every state in the union came here. Any college you can think of was here. It was the most amazing thing in the world to see these people coming in here.
They come in here when we couldn't clean out our own homes. They cleaned them out for us. And that's a big thing if you go to your house and it's 3 inches thick in mud, and you certainly don't want to deal with it.
They had their own sawzalls, they had their own chainsaws, they had their own tools, they knew how to build, they knew how to, put pipes together, electrical stuff, and they were awesome.
But they come in and clean it out for us and kind of give us the gumption to rebuild. So,
yeah, I guess you never thought people cared that much, you know what I mean, to come down here and help people that they don't even know and aren't looking for any kind of reward. And they bring in their own material, they bring in their own money. Nobody's reimbursing them for anything.
They were the biggest inspiration we had.
And so out of the damage and the destruction and the despair came a glimmer of hope where we had input. How do we want to rebuild? After you push the debris aside, what do we want to be?
Mississippi's Gulf Coast 10 years later. Progress continues to be made here in this picturesque place, flowing with renewed spirit. No storm could ever destroy.
We reopened 3.5 years ago. And in the meantime, I made jewelry out of the house.
The things we have now are better than we had before. We just don't have as much of them.
A lot of the people that stayed here through the changes were resisting change. Because if you've lost everything that you have, you want it to be like it was before.
We got a lot of nice things, you know what I mean? But, I would probably go back before the storm and have all our old homes and everything else there. But, we're moving on.
I think it makes you grow because you end up having to decide or really think about the things that are important. And so stuff is not so important. Pictures of family, that you can't replace that. But that's another lesson you got to learn, that you can't take any of it with you.
I say all the time that the water's what put us in this mess, and the water's the only thing that can get us out. You look at that out there right now, you see why we live here. So when nature gets bad once every 30 years, I guess you just got to put up with that.
My goal was to repopulate the city. So I would love for people to come back here and see what a wonderful city we have. And I've raised my family here, and I did before Katrina, and I'll continue to do it after Katrina.
And we are an award-winning community, and we'll continue hopefully to be so. We'd like to see more tourism. We'd like to see some hotels and other economic development along those lines, and we're working hard with the Chamber of Commerce and our local community to make that happen.
And the wonderful new harbor, all the downtown area is blossoming, the rebuilding of the houses, the pavilion at the corner, the yacht club, all the different businesses that have come, and the people's love of the past.
This town's 6 miles long and 1 mile wide. It's a peninsula, and we found out early on that we're really 50 states long and we're 50 states wide, and we are Americans, and believe me, that's the only thing that got us through this.